So for those of you that live under the Patrick fucking SpongeBob rock and have no idea what's going on in video games at the moment, basically nothing happened this week. It was pretty cruisy. So I think we might just wrap it up here and you go home.
See you guys next week.
Yeah, Bye. Anyways, great episode. See you later. Now, Grizzly, so Summer Games Fest, obviously Jeff Keighley presenting a lot of the stuff, having a bit of a chat with devs and stuff. The first major announcement was what had been long rumoured for a while now and formally announced at Summer Games Fest was The Last of Us Part 1. The Last of Us Part 1 is a complete rebuild of the original game. Now, if you go and have a look at some of the screenshots and comparisons, it's quite dramatic. Ellie changes quite a lot. She's a lot more closer in line with her appearance in Part 2. Total overhaul of the original experience, incorporating modernized gameplay, improved controls, expanded accessibility options, also talking brand new AI, and 60 FPS gameplay and new combat. So I guess they're kind of just taking what they had with number 2 and trying to give it the same kind of flavor to and lick of paint fresh to number 1.
I'd be interested to know your take on a remake of a game that was still looking not too bad.
Yeah.
Again, that was released, 7 years ago?
It's 10 years old this year, dude. So it's not young. It's not old. I don't know. Look, I definitely think the window's getting shorter and shorter in terms of what gets remade. I mean, the funny thing is, dude, like look at something like Skyrim. Like that kind of had a bit of a remaster and all that kind of stuff. Last of Us the original Last of Us had a remaster. I mean, that game came out on PS3, dude. So when you think about it like that, that's two generations ago. And then obviously you got a remaster for PS4. And now it's getting a remake. Words here, remake. So we're remaking the game, not just remastering it. Getting that remake happening. Overall, I think looks really nice, Grizz. I think the new engine just is going to take it to the next level. I think the way that they've kind of revised the kind of appearances of Ellie and Joel look really good. And looks bloody good, Grizz. Will you give it a crack?
Hell yeah.
I mean, you got to give it a crack.
I will definitely play this. This is on my list to play. This has been on my list to play for quite a while, mate. And the fact it's coming to PS5, I'll just pick it up on there and give it a whirl. Play this brand new version, probably on release, I reckon. Might be a good time to do it. Yeah.
Anyways, Grizz, let's move along, mate. Call of Duty, mate. It's been a while. We haven't had one for years, mate. It's been, we've only got a couple of them as well. So I'm glad that they finally bring out another Call of Duty. I think we're really starved for Call of Duty content. I think, FPS shooters, there's not many of them. So what do you think, Grizz? You reckon you're looking forward to get back into it finally after all these years?
Just a couple little things to add here as we're watching this trailer. So there's a bit of a description here. So game boasts a visual and audio feasts for the senses. Infinity Ward clearly prioritizing impressive weapon handling, evocative lighting, better bullet ballistics, and more reactive environments, and artificial intelligence. Now, there was one key bit in there where they were talking about the water physics in this cap. Things like the rain droplets and the way that there's, like, you might notice under some of the railings and stuff, you'll actually see, like, water that's coagulating and dripping down.
Pooling and stuff.
Yeah, pooling and stuff like that.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
It's supposed to be quite...
one thing that I did see, Grizz, is they're putting a lot of effort into things like, for example, this particular water level. All of those waves are kind of, dynamically generated on the ocean. So, your boat will react to those waves and all that kind of stuff. So, I'm sure that will translate to the multiplayer based on multiplayer maps as well. So just something to think about. But yeah, look, it's a fucking Call of Duty game. You can imagine what it looks like. Just imagine the graphics dialed up a little bit more than the last one that you saw, and that's pretty much what you got.
Yep.
All right. Now, we did speak about the Callisto Protocol last week, and I tell you what, dude, holy fuck. So we haven't really seen a good gameplay trailer yet, but Jesus Christ. Did you watch the whole thing, dude?
What
the fuck?
It is fucking brutal, Cap. It is so brutal, dude.
So contextually, for people that are listening, the trailer is this kind of, swan song made by a bunch of ex-Dead Space devs, because I never thought another Dead Space game would ever get created. fast forward X amount of years, and we've got a Dead Space remake coming out at the same time. We've got this brand new Callisto game. But basically, it's supposed to be like a Dead Space X game. You know, it's on this kind of, I think it's a prison planet or something like that. Looks like a prison-y kind of thing. It's got a lot of sort of Alien 3 kind of vibes with prisons, but just more so, zombies. So you play this guy who is probably a prisoner by the looks of things. He's got the prisoner outfit on, and they're doing a lot of the Dead Space tropes. So trying to give you as minimal HUD as possible, trying to get you to visualize your character's kind of status with, for example, on his neck, he's got like a health bar. And on his gun, you can kind of see, a nice big light up of the ammo and stuff. And then also the limb, what do you call it? Evisceration?
Removal?
I don't know, yeah. Removal.
I'll just say my little piece here. So it just looks, we saw this last week, but it looks eerie, doesn't it, Cap? It has these. And one thing that I really like about it is the zombies are different. So you might have that are slightly more portly than others that are, or slightly more taller. It's like, I feel like the enemy generation is a little bit interesting. And we saw, there has been unveiling of one weapon here, the use of a weapon called the grip. Then we saw a bit of footage of basically using the grip against some of these zombie prisoners and, decimating limbs and, sweeping the undead off their feet using this particular weapon, the grip. And,
so it's kind of like that gun out of Half-Life where it's like the gravity gun where it grabs things and shoots them away. I mean, Grizz, the game looks really nice, very dark and dingy, but I think they do a really good job of making the environments look really sexy and the graphics look really good. Yep. So, all right, moving along, Grizz. Street Fighter 6 unveiled the Guile gameplay trailer. Just kind of iterating on what they've already kind of shown. Dude, in all honesty, the game looks really nice. I think it looks great.
Looks nice, but this announcement as a whole is an absolute fucking crock of shit, Cap. Let's be honest.
Well, yeah. What didn't you like about it the most?
The fact that, Guile has been in every Street Fighter game ever, right? If you didn't, it'd be more of an announcement if they were to come out and go, guys, there's going to be no Guile in Street Fighter 6.
They're going to breathe oxygen.
It is cool, though, because you do see some of the moves and a bit more like fighting gameplay and bits and pieces there, which is obviously great to see. The game looks really good.
To be honest, I think the kind of standout announcements for this was the fact that it's going to be featuring rollback netcode, which is kind of like the premium, the king of netcode when it comes to fighting games, because it just ensures that everyone's on an equal playing ground and latency doesn't kind of just be fucking shit, during your multiplayer games. It's really important to have like a really good netcode algorithm that basically sorts through these latencies and tries to figure out exactly who won, essentially.
This goes back to my chat about Street Fighter V on the release, Cap, but the netcode was not good. Street Fighter V release. In fact, you couldn't play online on console from Australia because it would just be pure, just lag-ridden, just unplayable. So you were stuck with offline versus mode. So this I think it's like I say, I think this is definitely Street Fighter devs listening to their community. And Cap, we now know we've got Ryu, Chun-Li, we've got Guile. Yeah, we've also got a couple of new guys, Luke and Jamie, as well. So they are the release characters so far.
The fucking lamest names of all time.
Yeah,
we got bloody Glenn and Jono from down the road. Very cool. Witchfire Grizz. Now, have you seen this game before?
So I hadn't, but I went and did some research on this today, and this is an interesting one, Cap, because apparently this was first revealed at Game Awards back in 2017.
Yes, it's been a while since I've seen this game.
Have you seen it before? And how were you previously excited about this game? Because this kind of looks up your alley to me, Cap. A little bit of like it's kind of like a futuristic first-person shooter that melds in some magic use in it as well.
It's kind of like medieval meets. it's almost futuristic. I suppose just the fact they've got gunplay is what the futuristic kind of part.
Dudes are wearing armor, which is
I'm kind of getting like conquistador vibes, but also magic. So those at home, the trailer kind of shows this first-person shooter kind of style thing going on in this like medieval conquistador kind of thing in terms of like your setting. A lot of the enemies are sort of skeletal, and your character has, guns that they utilize against these enemies, but they also can sort of cast magic. And it seems like a lot of the magic you cast affects enemies, and then you want to shoot the enemy to kind of, get them. Like you'll fire a fireball at an enemy, and then they start glowing, and then you shoot them to actually get the spell to go off, kind of thing. So it looks really nice.
I noticed in this trailer, Cap, and it seems to be something we've seen not for the first time, but a lack of a HUD. You just see like the gun in front of you and your hand moving and casting your spells. And I think the stylized, like the actual look of this game is something that I'd definitely be interested in. It looks beautiful. The only thing that worries me about this, Cap, is the fact that it's been in development a long time, right? So we've got all these new games that are coming out, and when you've got something that's been developed in an old engine for quite a while, and if we saw this in 2017, then it's getting released alongside of games of the likes of Elden Ring and other bits and pieces that it might be not as quite groundbreaking as the games we're seeing released. But
I mean, even if it is using an older engine, it looks pretty nice. You can still get a fairly decent amount of performance out of those older engines and still pump them full of reasonable looking graphics. I mean, looking at this, some of the spell effects look pretty nuts.
Pretty good,
and just combining that with the firearms.
I guess modded Skyrim looks pretty good these days. And how old's that game, Cap? Okay.
Yeah. Moving along, another space horror game, just because 2 wasn't enough. Routine.
So, Cap, this was first announced a decade ago with early development footage shown in 2013 before it effectively dropped off the face of the planet, which was a shame because this survival horror game had plenty of tidy ideas. I'm just reading off a script here, Cap. Hope you don't mind.
Is that a pun? Dropped off the face of the planet?
Well, yeah, maybe. Whoever wrote this is probably pretty smart. It wasn't me. It looks like 10 years of gestation has developer Lunar Software the world of good because Routine looks phenomenal and its gameplay is showing. This is apparently a lo-fi tech, creepy environment, horrifying autonomous enemies. It's heading to PC, Xbox Series X, Game Pass. So I think that this actually looks pretty decent, Cap. But interesting that it's been 10 years, mate, that this has been in development for or announced.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Grizz, I'm getting strong Soma vibes. You play that game?
I did. Oh, that's a cracker. Yeah, Soma was great, wasn't it?
Yeah,
God,
really good game. So that looks pretty cool. Did you play the sequel Sugma?
Sugma Balls?
Yeah, that's the one. I got it. All right, moving along, Grizz. One Piece Odyssey. Now we had, if you're an anime fan, you probably know of a little manga called One Piece. Anyways, it's getting its big break with this brand new video game. The Straw Hat Pirates are going to be running around on some island doing some crazy shit. We won't dwell too much on this one, but I'm quite looking forward to giving this a crack. It follows a brand new story, so you don't even really need to know the characters if you want to give it a crack. So, Stormgate, Grizz, did you read much into this game?
A little bit, yeah. So this is a brand new real-time strategy game, Cap, from ex-Blizzard veterans, known best for their work on StarCraft 2 and Warcraft 3. Just from reading that, I was like, hell yes. We got the devs from ex-Blizzard, and the fact that they're ex-Blizzard is probably a good thing as well, Cap, because Blizzard's shit in the bed with Diablo Immortal.
I had the same kind of reaction when I heard that, and then they announced that it was free to play, and I went, ooh.
Oh, gross. I didn't read that. I kind of feel that way as well now. Why is that? Is that because we know they're going to have to monetize this somehow, and it's probably potentially going to be shady monetization?
That's always the big question, is how is it monetized? Is it just cosmetics? Doubtful. I just don't know what to expect from this. They kind of said in their interviews that, hey, don't worry, we're going to look after this and blah, 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 blah. But yeah, look, you've got to obviously cut your teeth somehow and make some cash. You can't just be spending years and years developing a game and then not be able to capitalize on it in any way. So how do they monetize this? Not too sure. You can register for the beta, looks like on the stream, so you could probably give it a crack and maybe more stuff to come on that later. But Warhammer 40k Dark Tide extended gameplay trailer, Grizzly. And god damn, does it look good.
Looks freaking awesome.
Yeah.
It kind of, at the moment, this is living up to what I expected it to look like, which is, so just to quickly paint the picture for those who don't know, that Vermintide 1 and 2 were very similar formula to this game. We've talked about it before on this stream, but it's essentially a co-op horde mode game. You work your way through a level with a couple
kind of Left 4
mates.
Dead-ish.
Yeah, a bit of Left 4 Dead-y kind of, but the
bit of a gear progression system as well chucked in there.
I think that was the biggest one for me. I actually really enjoyed these games, and Cap and I.
Oh, absolutely, dude.
This being 40k Cap, the originals were set in the other Warhammer universe, which is not futuristic. So you see a lot more gunplay in this, which I think is really cool.
I actually think that's what really draws me in, Grizz. I kind of like that it's not just you're a hybrid melee versus melee with a bit of ranged here and there, and you're kind of the degree of those doesn't change an awful lot. I do like the idea that maybe if you want to just shoot things, you can. Whereas, you've got this big brute guy with this. I love how they gave the lady, or the kind of skinnier character, this big mace, and then they gave this big brute this massive fucking Bowie knife. It's just instead of the other way around. I just thought that was a really cool design choice. But yeah, it looks really mint, Grizz. I think, to be quite honest, I think the aesthetic, this grim kind of spaceshipy kind of, gross zombie, kind of almost medieval armor thing that they've got going on I find that aesthetic a bit more interesting. Yeah, look, the game's looking really nice. Very, very keen to give this a crack. I think I do like how they've kind of leaned a bit more into the gunplay, hoping that you can kind of, you can kind of maybe have a bit more class identity rather than everyone's a melee hybrid class with a little bit of ranged attacks, and you're kind of scrimping for ammo. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how we go. But yeah, it looks really good. So look, Grizz, that kind of for what we're prepared to highlight, I think that kind of wraps up the majority of the Summer Games Fest. Now, some honourable mentions.
There was two that I wanted to go into a little bit of detail that I didn't tell you about, Cap. In the honourable mentions, but I've got some footage of one of them. So one of them is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. Now, Cap, this is a standalone game from Turtles that has 6-player co-op in it.
Oh, that's pretty tight.
It's
sweet. That might be
online. Yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly, dude, do you remember the Super Nintendo? And it's also on an arcade machine. Co-op Turtles game. It vaguely. It kind of looks like that, but yeah. So you've got the 4 turtles. You can play April and Pav. Who was the other guy? What's his name?
That boss name in that trailer was called Turtle Tenderizer.
Casey Jones.
Casey Jones. That's it. Yeah.
So this looks like one of those beat 'em up games, like side-scrolling kind of.
Yep. Yeah, it is. Yeah. So I thought this was pretty cool. So it's got local and online, so you could do this. From anywhere. Play a 6-player co-op, and then the other one as well is the Cuphead Delicious Last Course. If you don't know, this is a DLC to Cuphead, the existing game. So you can actually play in the same game. They've introduced a new character. There's new weapons. There's new trinkets. There's new bosses, and apparently there's new difficulty settings as well. So they have shown a couple of unique bosses in the trailer. It looks pretty cool. I'm excited. I think when this comes out, I may actually go back and do a bit of speed running of this and give it a crack again.
So yeah, that's basically the majority of the Summerfest Games announcement. That's our highlights anyway, Grizz. Now, what I wanted to pull up briefly, and I think I have forgotten.